to the channel, Maximum, as always. Just want to say, we're going to be going over how to defeat Saber heroes with blaster users in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because I know a lot of you guys, for beginners, and, sorry guys, so for beginners, it may be pretty hard, because I mean, when the lightsaber heroes get that close to you guys, I mean, they're just gonna rip you apart with their lightsaber. It's impossible to beat them with beginners, and you need some help, don't you? So I'm gonna be going over some tips of how to kill saber users with blaster users in Star Wars Battlefront 2. So, before we get into the video, guys, please keep subscribing. 29 subscribers, and we need to keep that number going up. The baseball videos I was making was just dumb. It was bad, so I deleted it. But I assure you, by the end of this video, these tips might help you. I don't know if they will, of course, but I hope they do. So let's get into the first tip. So this one is going to sound really stupid. It's going to sound really basic, but keep your distance, okay? Because I saw a few guys. One of them was this guy doing a video on a beginner's guide to heroes versus villains. He was really good, so he was killing most of those lightsaber users while he was playing Leia. But he was going like toe-to-toe with those saber heroes. And I mean, like I said, he killed most of them. But I mean, he's a good player. With beginners and players even like me, I haven't even mastered doing it yet. But I mean, they're just gonna rip you apart with their lightsaber, and you're not going to escape them if you just go toe-to-toe with them, because they're just gonna rip you apart. It's not gonna work. You're gonna die a million times. It's not gonna work. So the first tip is keep your distance. Keep your distance enough that they have to run at you to get at you, but close enough that you can get a shot on them. By the way, here's the next tip. So the next tip will be a little bit crazy. A little bit like, why would this guy want to do that? Why would he want to make you do this to become a better blaster hero? But I see a lot of YouTubers talking about tips with staying near your fellow teammates. They're talking about how you shouldn't just go out and go on a 1v1 in Heroes versus Villains or Hero Showdown, and that you should stay with your teammates. Well, with blaster users, you shouldn't be close to a lightsaber user teammate. And I know it sounds crazy, but here's the reason. If you go up and you're like side by side with the lightsaber hero that is your teammate, maybe another villain, either side, another lightsaber user that is your enemy might come up to that lightsaber user that's your ally, and they may start fighting, and you're right next to that teammate. So if they kill him, if they either kill your teammate or if they just notice you, they're gonna try and rip you apart. So don't go too close to your teammates, okay? So keep your distance and don't go too close with your teammates. So this one, I know you guys might really need this tip if you're a beginner, because I mean, it's a really basic, it's kind of basic, but you might really need it. This tip is for when you're keeping your distance, but eventually, and it's gonna happen, guys, it's gonna happen when the lightsaber user is just going to get close to you and they're gonna try and rip you apart, like always. This tip is, a lot of people go on the defensive and roll back and try to keep that distance. And that's a good tip because, I mean, you got to keep that distance. But most of the time, you actually want to roll through them while trying to shoot them. And like, I haven't even mastered it yet. I get it killed 100 times pretty much. But probably a lot of good players are gonna be able to get the kill if they keep rolling through them and keep shooting. Like every time they're just gonna. So the thing is, some players that have a lightsaber user might just see you and they're probably just gonna span around because, of course, it's very tempting to just swing at a blaster hero because they got no defense, and I mean, your lightsaber's really good. By the way, I'll share that tip in lightsabers. Don't just randomly go spanning out with blaster heroes, but that's for another video. The thing is, when they're doing that and you're a good player, if you keep rolling through them and keep shooting, eventually you're going to get the kill. And, I mean, that can really help you out. So, this next tip is a tip on Han Solo, one of the best blaster users in the game. I'll be ranking him with you guys soon. So, he is one of the best blaster users in the game. One of his really great abilities is his detonite charge. Because when you throw that charge, 1, it takes away a lot of damage, but 2, if the Saber hero is not blocking, don't do this if he is, if you can try and see if he's blocking or not, it can actually knock the Saber hero down, kind of like a force push, except it's a detonate charge, like a thermal detonator. So you can knock them down and get a lot of extra, maybe like 2 or 3 shots in, and eventually sometimes you can go on sharpshooter. I like to do this. I just learned it by just kind of my brain. Didn't really play him that much. But if you really want to and you really want to get that damage out of him when you knock him down with that detonite charge, you can knock him down, and then right after he's knocked down, quickly activate sharpshooter, and you can get a lot of damage out of that ability. And eventually, they're going to get close to you, but all you do is do the last tip. Roll through them and get some shots in, and eventually you'll get the kill. Han Solo is, in fact, one of the best blaster users in the game. I would rank him first place in the blaster users because his detonite charge is fantastic. It takes away a very high amount of damage and knocks them down to get your sharpshooter on and just start blasting them. Not to mention, he's got sharpshooter, which I told you, but that sharpshooter can take a lot of damage when you have it on. It makes you shoot 2 times as fast as normally, so it can get a lot of damage. Not to mention broad shoulders, which is another ability, which when they actually get close to you, another thing you could do is actually activate that ability. It will knock them down with your shoulder, and you can get a lot of shots in. And then maybe you could even just throw your detonite charge after and then start blasting them with sharpshooter. Of course, eventually all your abilities will be out and no stamina. All you gotta do is just roll back and stay away from them. By the way, guys, when your health is really low and your stamina is really low, you should really just stop. You should really just retreat, because if you don't have any abilities and you don't have any stamina, you're in trouble. Because, I mean, stamina is what you need to blast and run. Well, not exactly run, but blast and defensively roll, actually. So, I mean, when you run out, and abilities can actually recharge it, but if you don't have any abilities and you have no stamina, you gotta retreat. There's no way you're gonna fight with no stamina and no abilities, because seriously, guys, you're just gonna be like lightsabered to death. Anyway, so the next tip is for maybe Phasma. So Phasma is on the bad side, of course, on the villains. And what you should really do is when you're blasting with her, you should put down your robot thing. I don't exactly know what it's called, but it's the thing that shocks your opponent, giving you time to shoot. And it's a very good ability, because when you shock your opponent, Phasma has a very heavy blaster, and like it can get a lot of damage with only that one blaster. So I mean, when you shock them and you do that damage, it's gonna damage them a lot. Then you just gotta do what I told you on the second tip. You gotta roll and shoot. So now I'll be ranking the blaster heroes now. So first, like I said, is Han Solo, and we already talked about his abilities and his star cards. You should really just avoid star cards like, well, I don't know. I haven't known all of them. But star cards that are, well, maybe don't have a connect to his abilities, which are very good abilities. Second, I do Leia. So Leia is also a very good blaster user, because she has one ability that really, if you have a star card for, you should really just turn it on. She's got her stormtrooper thing, her stormtrooper blaster, which is actually, instead of firing like a regular stormtrooper blaster, it actually fires kind of like Phasma's blaster, and it can deal a lot of damage. And she also has a shield, which, guys, it's not a very good ability. So I recommend when you're doing star cards, you should not choose a shield ability. Also, her detonite charges also deal a lot of damage like Han Solo's, and I don't know yet. I haven't played her in a very long time, but they might knock them down. So her stormtrooper blaster thing ability and her detonite charge ability is really good. So third, I'm going to put Chewbacca. He's also a very good blaster user. He deals a lot of damage with his regular blaster, which I don't know what it's called. But when you, like, press that left trigger, like, an explosion is added to the blast to deal extra damage, and it can be helpful. I'm not saying it deals a lot of damage like Han Solo's detonite charge or Princess Leia's shooter stormtrooper, but I mean, it helps. He also, when you're getting up close with lightsaber users, you can also use your meal against them to try and get their health down. Also, when you're up close, you can also activate the power is on, but we can still what was it called? It's that ability that knocks the lightsaber user or blaster user, whoever you're fighting, down. And when that happens, you can get some explosion shooting in. Also, I know it has an animation, and you're vulnerable, which a lot of YouTubers talked about. I watched this video, just so you know, with a guy showing some secrets on Chewbacca. He said that the only way to skip the animation of that ability is to jump, like bunny hop, and then activate the ability in midair, and when you get to the ground, it just activates. So I know that one was good. So fourth, guys, I'm just gonna stop here with the 3, because this has been a long video, to be honest, 15 minutes. But it's been nice. I hope these tips have helped you out, and I have one more tip to add to blaster users. I recommend, on the bad side, you should use Boba Fett, Iden Versio, or Phasma. They all are very good players because they have heavy blasters. Not to mention Boba Fett dodges a little more like a lightsaber user with his jetpack. And when you're retreating, if you have very low health or low stamina with no abilities, you're able to activate your jetpack and just retreat over to a high spot or just go back. Not to mention Boba Fett has one of the really good abilities for blaster users, apart from Han Solo. He's got his little bombs that can deal lots of damage. They could literally kill, in single player, guys, they're gonna kill that soldier in like 3 bombs. He also has a little thing where he can activate one of his bombs, and it can make the lightsaber user or blaster user not see when they're fighting, so that you can get a lot of shots in. Oh, and he can scan for lightsaber users or blaster users with his other ability, with the orange scan. Iden has a shield, which if you're fighting a blaster user can come in handy, because if you're low health, no stamina, no abilities, you could just activate that. The blasters will just do nothing to you, and you have time to recover. Of course, if this wears out before you're able to do it again, you're gonna have to just figure something out. She also has an ability with her droid that shocks the lightsaber users to get shots in, like Phasma's droid, except it's different because, her final ability I think should be avoided, because, I tried it. It's a really good ability. It deals a lot of damage. It makes her shoot better with that green shoot. But, guys, it doesn't have an animation, but while you're just charging up that weapon to get ready to shoot, you're very, very vulnerable, and you can just, be totally knocked out. So I recommend not really using that ability often. But, you gotta use it sometime. She also has a thing. If you hold the left trigger, you can get a little blue stun shoot that deals a lot of damage, and it can make them, if they're really low health, it'll probably kill them right away. Phasma, like I said, has a really good ability where she can shock, and she can get some shots in. She's got a really good blaster, and when she's up close, she can use her spear and kind of pick out with their health. She's used very aggressively. So that's it for now. I kind of get those words wrong when I'm talking fast, but that'll be it for now, guys. I'll see you in the next video. I hope these tips have helped you out, and I hope they help you out in Star Wars Battlefront 2. And, I'm not exactly a rookie anymore. I've kind of gone to an amateur. But, just for beginners, I hope these tips help you out, guys. see you in the next video. This video has been almost 20 minutes, so see you in the next video.